So now it's time for the technology part. So I'm very happy to announce Stefan and Wolfgang, who will show us what we can expect from Therefore in the new version. If you have any questions during the technology demo, please post them in the chat and we will answer them after the demo. So Stefan, Wolfgang, it's your stage.
Yeah, hello and welcome to our technology session. It's a big pleasure to have you all in this conference, and my name is Stefan Barth. I'm CTO here at Therefore, and in this session we now want to give you a lot of information about our product, what we have done over the last months to further enhance it, and we also want to talk about our technology vision, our long-term plans where we are going to with the product. But now let's start with the new features which we have in Therefore 2021. We are currently finalizing this new product version, and so you can expect a release quite soon. And I would like to ask Wolfgang to give us a demo and show us these new features in action.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Wolfgang Gock. I'm Vice President Product here at Therefore, and yeah, I have the honor to show you what's coming, what's new in the next release of Therefore. So I'm sharing my screen with you now. I hope you all can see it. First of all, I want to share a quick slide to show you what the demo is going to be about, so that you have a little bit of an upfront information what features I'm going to show and what the flow of the demo is going to be. Basically, the idea of the demo is a semi-automatic accounts payable process. And we're assuming that the company that we are kind of run through it expects to get invoices sent by email. So the first step of the demo is going to be that we are sending some invoices to an email address where our content connector is pretty much watching and picking up these emails and putting them automatically in the background into Therefore. As soon as the new invoice arrives in Therefore, it's immediately forwarded to our new smart capture process. Most of you, or at least the ones that have joined the Fusion last year, have seen smart capture as a preview, as a proof of concept implementation at the last Fusion. I think now we're very proud to show you the final product and how smart capture works fully integrated into Therefore. Smart capture is integrated into all of our clients, which means that you can run it from the Therefore Navigator client, but you can also run it from the Therefore Classic web client and even from the Therefore Dynamic Web View. All of these clients support the smart capture processing. Smart capture basically is an AI process for invoice data extraction, which means there is no upfront learning. The invoices are fed into the process, and artificial intelligence, AI, is trying to read data, correctly extract the important bits from the document, and automatically populating the data to Therefore back. In the end, what we want to see is the user verification process. So in this step, the user is reading and seeing the proposed metadata. He can correct if it's required or confirm. And if he corrects something, then the system is automatically learning from it and will do better next time. So that's an integrated learning process. The results are then saved back to Therefore, and the invoice is transferred into a vendor case. So I've prepared a vendor case where we see all the collected vendor documentation. So we're going to see the invoice in there, but we also see orders and other documentation. But that's not going to be the end of the process. So every new invoice that arrives, and we are assuming our customer is using Business Central as an ERP system. So every new invoice that arrives in the case is also automatically registered to Business Central in the background, which means there's no manual duplicated enter of data or so. So Therefore it's going to sending all the data we read from the invoice automatically to Business Central, and will register the invoice there directly. And for this, it's using our new Business Central connector for Microsoft Dynamics Business Central. We're using a cloud version in the demo. Then we're going to post it in Business Central and finalize the process. And the last part of the demo will focus on the Therefore Dynamic Web View, where we also show you the case management bit, which was just integrated and newly added now. So having said this, I hope the flow of the demo is understood and clear. And let's now start with the first part, that we create and send some invoices to Therefore. Some of the invoices we're going to see several times in the demo is, for example, an invoice like this, which is a construction invoice from a company in Australia. But we are also going to see, like in this case, an invoice, a German invoice. So the language doesn't really matter here. So there are several invoices we're going to use and see throughout the demo several times. But let's now start it off. I have prepared some drafts in my email system, so I'm going to just send them across. I'm going to add the invoice here, and we're going to send it. Second one. So, and the last one. Okay, so the invoices are now picked up by Content Connector and automatically put into Smart Capture. If we now go to our Smart Capture process, because this process typically takes 3 or 4 minutes until the invoice is ready, I have sent some documents up front. So we have some invoices ready to be reviewed now. And the first step for a user is typically going to the Smart Capture process inbox, checking the ready invoices and taking the first one to process. So I'm opening this up now in Navigator. And here you see the view that the user gets when he's supposed to validate the invoice. So what are the different bits and pieces you see on screen? On the left, you see a list of data that was automatically extracted by the system. You also see that some of them have already green or at least gray check marks, which gives an indication about how confident the system is that this is the correct data. So you see he's very confident about the invoice type. He's also very confident about the invoice number. He's also pretty confident about the other stuff. He's missing a due date for the invoice because that's just because there is no due date on the invoice, so we cannot even correct that bit here. And he has a little doubt about the vendor name. So if you click any of the lines here, the system is putting us directly where this is read from, the data he read, and we can just correct or confirm the data. So we can do this actually for each bit of the invoice. So we can see, okay, the invoice number was taken from here, and it's correct. The other number is taken from here, which is also fine. The issue date is taken from here. You see that it's transferring the date correctly to the different format that we're expecting here. As we said already, due date is missing. We got the total amount of the invoice, which was picked up from here. We got without tax and the tax value. We got the currency detected correctly. Vendor name we checked already, and we got the VAT number of the customer. And last but not least, we can also check the line items. So you can choose if you want to detect invoices with or without line items. In the demo for sure, we're taking the line items, and you see here below what the system was reading here. So we got the code, we got the text and description from the item, we got a quantity, we got a unit price, and a total amount. So that was actually pretty good and all was read correctly. If you're done with checking the invoice, you can press confirm, which will in the end inform the Therefore workflow that the invoice is processed, the data is gonna download it from the Smart Capture, and the document is transferred to the correct case and saved with all the data. If you have multiple invoices in your queue, the system is immediately taking the next one, so you don't have to get back to Navigate and manually open another one. It's just directly opening the next in the list. Again, you see now immediately was jumping to due date because obviously this is the one value he was unsure about, so you don't have to click it to get to the data to be validated. The system puts you immediately to the right spot. But checking it, it seems to be all right, and we can press OK and we can approve. You also don't have to run through all the lines if you're happy with the recognition results, and maybe we just, to be sure, check the line items, but they also look good. You can only press confirm, and by that, send the invoice into the next step of the process. So we got, I think, 2 more to process. Also, this one looks pretty good. Also, the vendor name is right. And let's check the line items, which are okay. One thing to notice also is that you not only have a confirm button, but you also have a delete down here. which means if you get an invoice in which is obviously wrong, or it's not even an invoice maybe because it was incorrectly saved or sent, you always also have the option to press the delete button, and then the workflow will be stopped and the invoice will be deleted from therefore, and also the smart capture process is ended by that. But let's confirm this one because it's good. And we have one more, and that's actually one where not everything worked that perfectly. And so that invoice is to show you how you can train the system and how you can correct different bits and pieces. First of all, the order number is actually okay. We can take that. But we see, for example, that he was missing the total without tax value. He didn't find it on the invoice. So to train the system, basically all the user needs to do is to get to the place where the data is in, and he can collect it from here. You click it once, it's reading it, you confirm it, and by this little correction, the system should learn the next time that that's where the total without tax value is be taken from. So basically all the user needs to do is click once on the invoice, and by that train the system. But that's not all. On this invoice, there's even a problem on the line items. So let's just quickly go there and check what's down here. So first of all, obviously this first line that we see here on the page number 1 is not really a line item. So the first thing we need to do is we need to delete this entry here. So we can go here to the system, press the delete button, which is going to delete the line item from the list. And secondly, also here we see that the quantity value is taken from an incorrect spot. Also, unit price is not really correct, so it's obviously something is wrong on the list here. So we take you have here the button to edit the grid, which means you can edit now the line items. And what we need to do basically is here, obviously there was no separator detected. So by clicking the plus button, we can add a new separator on that line here. And here on the icons above the columns, we can set what data we're going to read from here. So in this case, I press it and say, okay, that's the quantity column. Here, I'm going to click it and say that's the unit price column. And here, I tell the system that's the total amount column. And if I've done all my corrections, I can press the apply button down here. The system is then trying to read the data once more. So I forgot to remove that line from the list here. Edit grid, and so now it's correct. So it's reading the data again, and you see now this time it did it actually absolutely correct. So now he was reading the quantity right, he was reading the unit price right, and the total amount. And also this is actually quite easy and very intuitive for a user. And by each of these corrections, the system is learned and trained, and as mentioned before, it's gonna do better in the future. Confirming it, and now we have finished all of our invoices. These 3 that are now here ready to be processed are the ones that we were sending previously by email. In the meantime, they were finished and they're ready to be processed. So that's about smart capture and how smart capture works and does the invoice recognition. Let's now check the results. So let's go to our repository and the vendors. So let's search for example, our DDS Melbourne company. And if you open up the case here, you see that we have some like arbitrary documents which are associated to this to this vendor. But we also have the invoices, where the topmost is the one we just did. We have also some orders and some quotes here in case management. But now let's quickly take a look at the final results of the invoice we just processed. So I'm open up the invoice once more. Here in the viewer, I'm popping up the index data here, and that's pretty much what is the end result of the smart capture process. So you see the vendor number that we have in the system for that customer and the customer name. We have the invoice number. We have the dates, the amounts. We have the vendor invoice number, so that's the invoice number coming from the customer. We have the associated order number, and we have all the line items which are from the document, correct, recognized, the prices are fine. So that's what actually ends up as data in therefore. And as you note down here, we have also a posted checkbox, which is basically at the complete end of the process. So when we have posted it in Business Central, this will be checked. But for now it's unchecked, which basically means we received the invoice. We have registered the invoice in Business Central, but we have not posted it yet. And to prevent that somebody needs to enter all this data again in Business Central to be able to process the invoice from the financial perspective, therefore was in the meantime, while I was talking, sending the data directly to Business Central in the cloud. So to show you this, I'm going to switch the clients now, and I'm going to go into my browser. I'm going to switch to Business Central. So that's now a Business Central sandbox in the cloud that we have created for the demo. And if we go into the purchase invoices area of Business Central, you see we got exactly the 4 invoices we have been prepared and processed previously in therefore using the Smart Capture. We have them again here in the purchase invoices. These are registered invoices. They're not posted yet. So this is still a place where somebody can open it up. Again, you see you got the vendor name, you got the contact, you got, again, the vendor invoice number here, and you got actually the same 4 line items that were read from therefore, perfectly transferred into Business Central automatically. As I said, no double data entry, no problems, no faults when you transfer the data. It's all done automatically. And on the right, you see an area drag and drop documents where you have a quick link to show the invoice once more. So if you click that link now, it again opens up a browser window and puts you directly to the document that is saved in therefore. So that's the one we just have been seeing in the Navigator a minute ago. And for sure, you have all the options to also access the metadata from here again, as previously. So that's how easy it is for somebody to open up. So I just have the window in front of me here. Yeah, in addition, it's also actually very easy if you need to add additional information or you have an supporting document somewhere in your system. You can also very easily add this here. So let me just go to my sample documents, and let's take a legal document like a service contract. So if you would now like to attach a service contract to the whole process, all you need to do from Business Central is actually drag and drop it onto the drop zone, and it's immediately saved to therefore and associated with the same case in the background. So that's actually also a very, very easy process and very straightforward for a user, I would say. So in here, for sure, somebody can check, and if there are problems or some errors or some corrections to be done, for sure they can still be done. But in the end, we need to post the invoice. So we press posting here. Yes, you want to post it, which is now creating the final invoice inside Navision. You will notice that the invoice number now changes because in Navision you typically get a temporary invoice number first, and when you post it, it's getting a final one. So now we are in the posted purchase invoice. So that's now, this cannot be changed anymore. This is not a final invoice. And again, on the right side, you see we still have the links to all of our supporting documents and the invoice in therefore. And again, also from here, you have the option to click it and show the invoice in the therefore system. And what you also might notice now is that we updated for sure the invoice number with the final one. So we were also sending data back from Navision to therefore, updating the invoice number. And we also updated the posted flag now. So that is obvious also in therefore that this invoice is a posted invoice. And that's finalized. Yeah, so that's pretty much about the whole flow of the document in our little demo. So the flow from getting in by email, getting read and getting recognized using our Smart Capture service, being put into the right spot inside the therefore system, and also being registered in the background directly in the ERP, in this case Business Central, for final processing for finishing. The last bit of the demo, I want to focus now on the new web client, on the therefore dynamic web view, and especially case management, which was also just enhanced and added finally for this release, therefore 2021. So I'm going into my repository view. I'm going here into my vendors case area, and I'm now putting my vendors list on screen. And as previously in the therefore navigator, I'm selecting the DS Melbourne customer here, and you see the view is pretty similar than you got it previously. So we got our different sections of the case on the left side. So we got the documents, we got the list of invoices we have in the system, the orders and the quotes. We got some document context related menus here, like open document or deleted document. We are just now adding also the workflow related bits, like starting a workflow or a task here. And here on the right, you see the actions related to the whole case. For example, we could add new documents to the case. We can edit the case header. So if you need to change some case header information, you can click it here and change parts of the case header if required. And for sure, you also have the option to start case workflows and start ad hoc tasks related to this case. And as I said, opening up a document is for sure very easy. Let's, for this example, now go to the service contract and open it. The same for sure does also work for when you double click. Then you get to the documents view and can show the document as you're used to with all the supported actions. And if you go back, you're put back to the case and see all your list once more. Another feature which you have here is that you can navigate through different cases quite quickly using the previous and next buttons here. So if you want to open another case from the list, you can go down to the next case. You see that we're now on a different case for a different customer. So the data is updating dynamically whenever we move. And for sure, also the other direction. So if you go for previous cases, you see that we can very easily and very quickly switch between different cases and get different data here for the different customers. Some things in general that have been added or changed for a new web client is that the panels now on the left and on the right are collapsible. So you can now collapse or expand the panels, and you can even also resize them, make them bigger and smaller, which is remembered. So when you do it once and set it up as you wish, it's going to keep it like that. Pretty similar on the right side. So if you hide the panel, it's collapsed, and the neat bit here is that you still are available you have still available all your commands here. So if you want to access any of the commands, you can press it and it's still easily available for you. So if you have not much space on screen or have a small client or a high resolution, it's quite neat to collapse the right panel and don't have the full command with the text, but only with the icons, which are equally good working. For sure, the case manager supports all features of there for cases like workflow processing, ad hoc tasks, and all these bits and pieces. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it in terms of the prepared demo. So actually, I'm handing now back to Kono, and I'm pretty sure, I guess there have been some questions around the demo. So maybe we can cover those now.